Welcome to Mindfulness, Living the Buddha Way. Today we are discussing unpacking unfairness, the power of radical acceptance. Have you ever done everything right, been kind, generous, honest, and yet life still kicks you in the teeth? It's the question that keeps us up at night. Why is this happening to me? Today, we're not just asking why, we're uncovering an answer that might just change how you see the world entirely. Life isn't fair. That's what everyone tells us. But what if our obsession with fairness is actually the thing holding us back from real happiness?
That's such a counterintuitive way to think about it. Most people spend their whole lives trying to make things more fair.
Well, you know what's fascinating about this Buddhist perspective we're exploring? It suggests that our exhaustion doesn't come from life's unfairness itself. It comes from our constant fight against that unfairness.
Like we're carrying around this heavy backpack of expectations about how things should be.
Exactly right. And research shows that people who expect life to be fair experience more stress hormones when faced with unfair situations. It's literally making us sick.
Well, that explains why I felt so drained after spending 3 hours yesterday obsessing over someone cutting in line at the coffee shop.
Well, and that's exactly what this teaching is pointing to. Like, how much energy did you spend thinking about that person, planning what you should have said, imagining different scenarios?
You know what's really interesting about this perspective? It's not telling us to be doormats or just accept bad behavior. It's actually much more strategic than that.
Right, it's saying that by obsessing over unfairness, we're essentially volunteering to carry around someone else's negative energy. And studies show that rumination, that constant replay of unfair events, can increase anxiety levels.
So what's the alternative? Just pretend nothing bothers us.
Well, here's where the Buddhist perspective gets really practical. It suggests that instead of fighting reality or seeking revenge, we should focus on what psychologists call radical acceptance, acknowledging what is without trying to change it.
That sounds, honestly, kind of impossible. How do you just accept when something truly unfair happens?
So get this. Research from Harvard showed that people who practice acceptance actually recover from negative events faster than those who don't. It's not about being happy about unfairness. It's about not being surprised by it.
Like expecting rain sometimes instead of being shocked and outraged every time it rains.
Exactly. And here's what's really powerful. When we stop expecting fairness, we can start focusing on what we actually can influence. Studies show that people who focus on their response rather than the situation report 40% higher life satisfaction.
That reminds me of something I read about Viktor Frankl. Even in a concentration camp, he found that the one thing nobody could take away was his ability to choose his response to what was happening.
That's such a powerful example. And you know what's fascinating? Modern neuroscience backs this up. When we let go of trying to control external events, our prefrontal cortex actually shows decreased activity in areas associated with stress and anxiety.
So it's not just philosophical, there's a real biological benefit to acceptance.
Absolutely right. And here's another surprising finding. People who practice acceptance report having more energy for positive actions because they're not spending all their resources fighting against reality.
Well, that makes me think differently about my coffee shop incident. I probably could have written a novel with all the energy I spent being angry about it.
And that's really the key insight. It's not about giving up our power. It's about choosing where to direct it. Research shows that people who accept unfairness but focus on their own actions report feeling 45% more empowered than those who focus on getting even.
So maybe the real question isn't, why do bad things happen to good people? But how can we stop exhausting ourselves by expecting life to be fair?
Exactly. And here's what I think is the most powerful takeaway. Accepting unfairness doesn't make us weak. Studies show it actually makes us more resilient, more effective, and ultimately more peaceful.
That's quite a paradigm shift from how most of us were taught to think about justice and fairness.
You know what's really interesting? Traditional societies often had this wisdom built in. The Stoics, for instance, had a practice called negative visualization, actually preparing for unfairness rather than being surprised by it.
So, what's the practical takeaway for someone listening who wants to try this approach?
Well, research suggests starting small. Notice your reaction to tiny, unfair moments, like someone cutting in line or not holding the door. Practice letting those go first and gradually work up to bigger challenges. Studies show this gradual approach has higher success rate than trying to tackle big injustices first.
That makes it feel more manageable somehow, like training a muscle.
Exactly that. And remember, we're not trying to become passive observers of life. We're actually becoming more powerful by choosing where to spend our emotional energy. That's the real revolution in this teaching. Thank you for spending these moments in mindfulness. If this reflection brought you a little calm, you can return whenever you need. Until next time, live gently,